Hello, I'm Nardo D&D. I do all sorts of homebrew D&D stuff, like converting old D&D stuff into modern D&D stuff, and today I have something new for you guys. I'd like to reintroduce the concept of prestige classes to D&D 5.24, and what better way to introduce these prestige classes than with one of the most infamous of them all, the Blackguard, or Blackguard if you pronounce it all as one word, like it's spelt in D&D. But before we get into it, if you end up liking the video, I would really appreciate a like, and if you want to stay tuned to see what I make next, a subscribe is the exact way to do that for free, and the thing I think is the coolest is to comment below so that I can see what you guys think about this fun expansion into prestige classes. I respond to every comment that has ever been posted on any of my videos. You can check my work on that one because it's my favorite thing to do, and I love you guys, and I love hearing what you guys have to say. Now, first question on everyone's mind. What is a prestige class, first of all? I'm glad I asked. A prestige class is a class that cannot be started out as in character creation. The only way to become it is to meet a specific set of requirements outlined by each individual prestige class, and then multi-classing into it later on. As a rule, since prestige classes have more hoops to jump through, they're a bit stronger than the normal classes. However, because you cannot start as them, they do not go up to level 20 like normal classes do. The one official D&D prestige class, the Rune Scribe, only goes up to level 5, for example. Well, that's enough of an explanation for all you savvy folks. Let's get into the actual prestige class, Blackguard. So these guys were very bad boys, like locked into an evil alignment bad in ye old editions of D&D. But since 5.24 said alignment isn't real, I guess anyone can get up to Blackguard stuff if they have a good reason for it. So, the prerequisites for Blackguard are as follows. You're going to need a strength score of 13 plus. Blackguards require great strength to contain the surge of otherworldly powers within them. You're going to need a wisdom or charisma score of 13 plus. Blackguards need a way to keep their minds intact when utilizing otherworldly powers. You're going to need proficiency in religion or arcana. The rituals needed and channeling of otherworldly powers require knowledge of the occult or arcane, so you can kind of finagle it one way or the other with that one. You're going to need a character level of 5 at the minimum. Only an experienced adventurer can handle the rituals required to become a Blackguard. And you must complete a special task, because this is always fun. The other prestige class, Rune Scribe, also had a special task that they had to complete, which was going to get a little rune for them to start. So for this one, for the Blackguard special task, you must subjugate an outsider summoned by either you or someone else, establishing a link that you use to empower yourself. And you're gonna like reverse warlock them, where you're the guy in charge, and you have this thing subjugated. And subjugated, I think, is the nicest word to use for this kind of relationship between you and this devil, or you and this angel, or you and this elemental, you know? So I think that's pretty good. Let's move on to the core traits of Blackguard. They get a hit point die of a d12. They're really big, meaty boys. Prestige classes, as a rule, are better than just classes, so he gets the better hit point die, because this is like the fighty one, so the fighty prestige class is going to have the goodest hit die shortly. Weapon proficiencies, you get martial. So once you take Blackguard, you know all the martial weapons. You're good at them now. Armor training, you know all of them. You know light, medium, and heavy armor, and you know shields. Is everything you could have ever wanted. Those are the core traits. A quick sneaky peeky at the Blackguard feature table. You can see here, you have a lot of features to look forward to, and you get prepared spells. So that's going to be nice. And the way prepared spells work between multiclassing is you just get all of these extra spells prepared as a Blackguard, and you can still have all of the prepared spells from your other class. However, when combining spell slots per level, there's this whole other chart, and Blackguard's going to be a half caster, like a paladin or a ranger or an artificer when it comes to consulting that chart, and there's a section in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but I can go over it maybe at the end on how combining spell slots from different classes work to see how many spell slots of all the things you would have. And warlocks just get to avoid that whole problem because they get their own spell slots and they don't interact well with others. Moving to the first feature of Blackguard, at level 1 you gain Dark Blessing. Your subjugation of an otherworldly creature empowers your being and the swings of your weapon, depending on what kind of outsider you have subjugated. The first attack of your attack actions gains a bonus according to the outline below. So if you've subjugated a fiend, the first attack you swing is going to deal an additional 1d10 fire damage. Very neat. If you summon an elemental, depending on what kind of elemental, will do a different kind of damage. I can let you guys peruse that. They also have little extra bonuses, usually involving a resistance to the thing, so that's pretty funny. If you've subjugated a fae, you deal an additional 1d8 thunder damage with your first attack, and if that attack connects, you gain your proficiency bonus and temporary hit points, so that's pretty neat. And if you subjugated a celestial, you get a big 1d10 radiant damage, so that's very nice. And in addition, this comes with like a minor downside. It's not really a downside, but it's like kind of a downside. It could even be a benefit in like some situations if you subjugate a celestial, and I'm going to explain it now. When you use this feature, you gain the associated creature type to your creature type. So you gain both until you take a long rest. As a bonus action, you may make a wisdom or charisma saving throw with a DC equal to 10 plus the number of times you've used this feature since the last long rest to suppress this creature type for 1 hour. This saving throw can only be made a number of times equal to proficiency bonus per long rest. So probably 3 when you first take this class, between levels 5 and 10, I would imagine. So what this means, how I would use this as a dungeon master to interact with this character playing the Blackguard is while he has the creature type associated with it, he will gain like physical features of that. So if he's a celestial, or maybe gets a little halo, maybe he's just like prettier, maybe he gets an extra set of eyes like on his face, you know, like a funny angel kind of stuff. If he's an elemental, maybe like that element is kind of seeping out of him in some way. Maybe his hair gets like catches on fire every now and then. If he's a fiend, he's growing horns, and he's like, he might get a little devil tail, his skin might turn red. Like it's gonna be pretty obvious if it's a fiend. I would make it. And it just could lead to issues when trying to walk around a nice, law-abiding, lawful good town. But again, alignment doesn't exist. Either way, I can definitely see problems arising from being too fiend-like in public. Additionally, at level 1, you gain spellcasting. It works similar to how it works for Ranger and Paladin. I'm sure you guys can do a quick peruse. However, a nice thing to point out is that you can use either Charisma or Wisdom for your spellcasting ability, and the Blackguard has his own spell list that is outlined at the end of a PDF that I have made with everything else in it that I'm going to tell you guys about here. I may even go over the spells at the end, so stay tuned for that. Moving on to level 2 of the Blackguard, you gain a fighting style, whichever one you want. Oh, maybe you want unarmed, do the extra D8 with your punches. That's just funny. So that's pretty straightforward, not much to explain there. Additionally, at level 2, you gain Aura of Despair, which is kind of like the antithesis of the Aura of Courage that the Paladin gives off. You radiate an aura in a 10-foot emanation that invokes dread in your foes. The aura is inactive while you have the incapacitated condition, as you would imagine. Now, the Paladin one affects allies. This one affects enemies in the following way. Enemies in the aura suffer a penalty to saving throws equal to your Charisma or Wisdom modifier, your choice. In addition, enemies in the aura suffer a penalty to their armor class equal to half your Charisma or Wisdom modifier, rounded up. So at that big, like 20 Charisma Paladin or 20 Charisma Bard that takes this as a fun joke, like that's -3 AC to anything within 10 feet of you. So that's pretty good. That's pretty nice. That's level 2. I think it's pretty cool. Level 3, you gain a Fiendish Servant. Oh, how fun. You take power from your subjugated otherworldly creature to fabricate a servant to squire for you or generally assist you in your travels. You gain the ability to cast the Find Familiar spell once per long rest as an action and requiring no materials. The familiar summon gains the creature type of your subjugated otherworldly creature and has its hit points maximized. So as you summon a cat and you have an angel like subjugated, it'll be a celestial cat with maximum cat hit points, which isn't that many, but it's still something. It's like a little bonus, and you can like have them do cat related things. You're like, go get me that pair of keys over there. Another thing with Find Familiar, you can like make them come into existence like 30 feet from you, so they can get around. You can get them to interesting places. At level 4, this is something I really disagreed with how they handled the Rune Scribe. The Rune Scribe did not get any ability score improvements in any of their levels. I think that's dumb. Ability score improvements and like just general feats are vital to like customizing your character and making them really yours. And I think it would be a shame that prestige classes would lock you out of that. So at level 4, you gain an ability score improvement where you can take the ability score improvement feat or any other feat for which you qualify for. So that just lets you customize your character as you would even if you were a normal class without having to do really hard math to like figure out how many levels exactly you need to maximize the number of feats you get. So like you could just pick the fun prestige class that you want to go for, gain an ability score, carry on customizing characters. And now at level 5, probably the most powerful move in the game, you gain as a Blackguard improved attack. Whenever you take the attack action, you may make 1 additional attack. So that is quite powerful. However, if you're a fighter and you take this, it nets you 0 if you just went 20 levels in fighter, meaning you'll just have the same number of attacks because fighter gets their 4th attack at level 20. They get their 3rd attack at level 11. So if you went 11 levels of fighter, 5 levels of Blackguard, you would have a total of 4 attacks just like if you were a level 20 fighter, and you'd still have like 4 levels left over to do whatever you want with, like anything you like. So that's pretty neat. 4 levels, that's like an extra ability score improvement. Maybe take a different prestige class at that point. I would do that. That seems goofy. Just stay tuned for the next prestige classes. I've written several of these these already. Let's look at the Blackguard spell list real quick, just to see what they have available. Mainly for my goals with this were to copy exactly what they had in past editions and try to match those with spells. Some spells went up in levels, some spells went down in levels. Fear used to be a level 1 spell, but now it changed drastically in this one, but they did get that one. So the Blackguard's first level spells available to them are Cure Wounds, Inflict Wounds, Divine Smite, Searing Smite, Command, Summon Monster, Bane, and Chaos Bolt. So it's a mix of offensive damaging spells and minor support spells, and a fair bit of crowd control in the form of Bane, Command, and Summon Monster. And those wily and in tune with Naruto D&D will notice that Summon Monster is not a 5.24e spell, but rather a spell from the previous video where I made a bunch of level 1 spells from older editions, because Blackguards gain Summon Monster as a little ability, and since I just converted that spell, I felt it would be fine to put it in here and shill my other video. It's pretty good. It shows you spells from past editions. It's really neat. Anyway, second level spells available to the Blackguard are Animal Messenger, Darkness, Find Steed, Flame Blade, Hold Person, Magic Weapon, Ray of Enfeeblement, Shadow Blade, Shatter, and Zone of Truth. Again, a mix of support and utility spells while having spells that would buff your general martial prowess, like Shadow Blade and Flame Blade and Find Steed. Because like finding Steed does boost your martial prowess because you have a horse and he can dash. That's like infinite movement. And infinite movement is one of the biggest buffs to any martial character. Third level spells available to the Blackguard are Bestow Curse, Blinding Smite, Dispel Magic, Fear, Fireball, Remove Curse, Summon Fae, and Summon Lesser Demons. And I included Summon Fae and Summon Lesser Demons mainly for the flavor that if those are the kinds of things you'd be subjugating, it would make sense that you can like bring those forth. And you probably have like a bad relationship with them. They probably wouldn't be the biggest fans of you, but they wouldn't really get too much of a choice in the matter. Fireball is fun because just a big armored guy hucking a fireball is just very intimidating. And the Blackguard seems, I think, what you want to be as a Blackguard is intimidating. Like that is the word that you want to encompass as a daunting wielder of dark magic and martial prowess. Like you're a pretty spooky guy, I would say, as a Blackguard. And that's it. That's the whole Blackguard. It's only 5 levels. It's not too complicated. I would love to hear if any of you would enjoy to play or multi-class into a Blackguard with maybe one of your funny characters that you're using in your home games. I'd love to hear about that. Any funny stories involving them. Maybe you've played with a Blackguard or against Blackguards in the past, in past editions. Or maybe they've made appearances in some of your home games. I'd love to hear any like fun stories. I love hearing about people playing D&D because it's just always something nuts. It's never like a straightforward, like we went in and we killed the goblins. Although I do like hearing those are actually pretty good ones. But it's always like, oh, we went in and we started a trade cartel with the goblins, and now we've addicted the local villages to green wood cocaine. And that's usually like the baseline for stories of those kinds. So like I'd love to hear stories like that, but maybe like include ones that are Blackguards, was like relevant to what we're talking about here, you know? If you liked what you saw here and me rambling, I would really appreciate a like. And if you really like what you saw, the PDF is right there in the description. It's like the second line in the description. It's like the video title, and then it's like the PDF. Go click that, have a little browse through. Maybe you get better insight by just reading through yourself. I know I have to read things myself. I can't like, it's hard for me. It's a whole thing. Subscribe if you want to hear more. I'm definitely coming out with more of these prestige classes because I really liked doing this. I've already written prestige classes for the Shadow Dancer and the Dragon Disciple. So look forward to those coming out very soon. Let me know what you want to see next. That would be great. Check out the other videos. They're fantastic. You gotta check out the level 1 spells from 3.5 because that's how you get Summon Monster for Blackguard if you want to use them. If you want to use that, it's a pretty cool spell, I think. And yeah, know your onions. See ya.